So our elders, especially, if you serve in any, like if you want to become modern, if you serve in bone china and all, they get offended. Mughals, they could not conquer Assam. They tried for 17 times, and then they have to leave after bank of, Brahmaputra. Yeah, there is health benefit, and beyond the health benefit, you get the flavor. Initially, I was new, so no restaurant and hotels, they gave me space for that. Even in the rainy time, we eat lots of ginger. Hello, TMM. Hi, my name is Neha Saikia. I am expert in Northeast cuisine and I host supper tables in my own house, and it is called Table for Six Luncheon. And I also do food festivals and pop-ups in different restaurants and hotels. And I go as a guest speaker when the Institutes of Management invites me. And also I do workshops in different hotel management institute. So I am doing an interview with TMM. So bell metal is an alloy of three metals. So there is a very nice story behind it, why we eat in bell metal. So ancient time, the food was served in banana leaf. After that, it changed to bell metal. And now also we eat in bell metal only, bell metal plates and bell metal utensils. So our elders, especially, if you serve in any, like if you want to become modern, if you serve in bone china and all, they get offended. You have to serve to honor them in bell metal. Or if you are eating prasad in any temple or namghar, that it's okay. Then you can serve it in banana leaf, but no other, crockery or any other material. So there is a very beautiful story behind it. So, Mughals, they could not conquer Assam. They tried for 17 times, and then they have to leave after bank of, Brahmaputra. So those days, during Mughal time, when they could not conquer, there was lots of malaria. People used to die with malaria. So when the Mughals left, whoever were there near the banks of Brahmaputra, they left. Either they were patients with malaria, or those people who used to sharpen the weapons of the, soldiers. So those 100 people who left, they, for their livelihood, they started making bell metal. So they collectively, they melted three alloy. They made an alloy of three tin, brass or copper. They made an alloy and it was bell metal. We call it kaan. So for their livelihood, they started making those plates and, bartan utensils and all. That's how we started eating in bell metal, and it is very respectful now to have it food in bell metal. Yeah, there is health benefit, and beyond the health benefit, you get the flavor. When you add the rice, when you put the hot rice and a meat curry over it, you get a nice flavor with that metal. The same flavor you'll get with banana, different flavor you'll get with banana leaf also, but in bell metal also, you get a different kind of aroma, say, you feel like to eat. But then again, one drawback of bell metal is you cannot put tangy in it because it reacts. So for tangy thing, we take a trunk of banana, we make a katori and then we serve it. And now in modern kitchen, we use glass bowls to serve the tangy thing. So, but the bell metal plate will be there. And we serve our tea, the lalsa, in bell metal bowl. It's a bati, katori, not the cups. The bride, she will stand with a bota like this. We call it bota. So here we keep soft tamul, that is kacha supari and pan and all. Mostly it's soft these days. So she will carry this and she will hold like this on her hand, and people will come and greet her and take little bit of pan or tamul or soft, whatever it is there. So that's how she greets. The bride will greet. And then of course, feasting is there. It starts with jolpan. In jolpan, we have sira doi, sira cream, kumol saul cream. Kumol saul is uncooked rice. You don't need to cook it. Just soak it in warm water, strain it, and serve it with cream. And since I told you that, we don't have the milk concept, so cream and doi is very feasty thing, so that's how we welcome initially with the sira, komal saul cream, gur, pithas. We have varieties of pithas. And then the lunch or dinner, and it goes on and on. So during the wedding, now in cities we have recently, say about 10 years, we have caterers. But in entire Northeast, if you go to the rural side or to the interior side, you will not find caterer. People from village or nearby places will come. They will cook the food, and that's how they will cook and they will eat and enjoy with others. It's like that. So group of women or group of men will come. Even the men, they will come and cook. So it's like community cooking in our ceremonies, not only a wedding, in every ceremony. So I post everything on social media. So as I have told you before, that social media has really helped me a lot. So I used to post everything, the photos and all on social media. So that's how different management institutes, they invited me. I thought, let me do a pop-up. Initially, I was new, so no restaurant and hotels, they gave me space for that. So I started from my own house. So again, social media, it helped me a lot. So I just posted it on Facebook that I'm going to do a pop-up and this is my menu. Initially, I had to put up the menu also. So the menu, it attracted people, and within 20 minutes, my pop-up was booked. So my plan was for 15 to 20 people. Since I have a 3-bedroom house, it's not a bigger house. But 47 people came, and I had to open up all the, my rooms. So it was very nice, and then slowly the restaurants, the hotels started inviting me. I did a pop-up 3-day festival in Nepal also, in Ireland. During those pop-ups and festivals, I had to prolonged standing for 12 hours for cooking, preparing, attending guests and all. While on bed rest, I planned a table for 6. That's how I named it, just randomly, table for 6 luncheon. So since I have 6 chairs, so I thought, okay, let me invite 6 guests only. So that's all. And then after that, Instagram came. And then on Instagram, I posted on the story that I'm going to start this table for 6 and whoever is interested can book. So within 15 minutes, my table was booked. And it encouraged me a lot. At the end, because since we have eaten alkaline, spice, chili and all, in spice, when I say spice, it is only a black pepper or that king chili, which is we call bhut jolokia, and we have lots of varieties of chilies. So those chilies are also like bird's eye chili. That is also very spicy. We have eaten alkaline and spice and all, so we need a palate cleanser and to soothe, because we don't have dessert concept. So here in North India, people will eat food and then we have mitha. So that mitha will, soothe your the system. But back home, we finish our meal with khatta. So it has to be tangy. Either it is a vegetarian tangy curry or a fish curry. Traditionally, it is masaur tenga. That's a tangy fish curry. And that tangy thing also, you can make it with tomatoes or amla or lemon, orange, star fruit, any tangy thing. So it's not necessary to make it with tomato only. That's how we finish it. And no dessert concept. And then we drink lalsa. So we have 3 Bihu in the entire year, and Bihu is harvesting festival. So all the 3 is related to harvesting. So the first Bihu, Makar Sankranti is our Bihu, first Bihu, and we call it Rongali Bihu. So that is the Sankranti. So again, it will be worshipping of the field, Khet, mother god, and then we invite people for feasting and all, because everything is feasting around us. So we cook and we invite people, we invite our relatives, and that's how we feast. And the second one is the biggest festival, is during the Baisakhi, Rongali Bihu. So that festival is a bigger one. We celebrate it. It extends till a month, or maybe sometimes 2 months with functions and all. So that festival, we worship our cattle, we bathe them, we worship our earth, the khet, the farms, and then we do the feasting. So feasting and dancing is a part of our culture. And then in November, in Kartik month, one Bihu comes, it's called Kangali Bihu. Kangali means Kangal. When the thing is finished, all the harvests are finished, we worship the Mother Earth to bless us, to give us good crop in the next year. So that's how we do Kangali Bihu. That Bihu is not very celebrating type. It's a very puja thing. We worship our farms and all to get the good crops next year. So we eat seasonal foods. Season wise, we don't eat beyond the season. So whatever we get, because we pluck from our own garden, so whatever we get during the season, we consume that. During the summertime, our food will be completely different, and even in the rainy time, we eat lots of ginger. So there will be dish with only ginger juice or pepper. जो काली मिर्च होती है, the fresh one is green. So we use that green pepper. Pepper is must because it's good for health. So we use lots of pepper. And winter time will be lots of duck meat because it's oily, and sesame, black sesame. Since our food is not spicy, so keep our body warm, we use black sesame for the oil content and to keep the body warm. But it was lovely talking to you. Thank you, TMN.